Israeli troops amass on the Gaza border as the Prime Minister vows to crush and destroy Hamas.
Survivors of recent attacks on the Israel-Gaza border are reeling as returning holidaymakers await news of their loved ones.
The US Secretary of Defense joins NATO allies in Brussels to discuss the growing conflict between Israel and Hamas. Hundreds of thousands of Israeli soldiers have converged on the Gaza border, ready for a potential land invasion. The military says its air offensive is targeting a network of tunnels in the Gaza Strip where Hamas is known to operate. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has joined his top political rival to create a wartime cabinet to oversee the counter-offensive against the militant group.
כל איש חמאס הוא בן מוות. חמאס זה דאעש, ונרסק ונחסל אותו, כפי שהעולם ריסק וחיסל את דאעש.
Israeli military strikes have flattened entire city blocks in Gaza. At least 1,200 Israelis and 1,100 Palestinians have been killed. The UN is calling for access to Gaza, which Israel has blockaded.
Crucial life-saving supplies, including fuel, food and water, must be allowed into Gaza. We need rapid and unimpeded humanitarian access now.
Turkish officials say Ankara is negotiating the release of about 150 hostages kidnapped by Hamas during Saturday's attack. Foreign nationals are among those being held. Palestinian officials say the humanitarian situation in the Gaza Strip is spiralling. Hospitals are overwhelmed by the vast number of injured patients, and electricity has run out.
Anxiously awaiting answers. A group of 35 elderly people from Gaza kibbutz near the Gaza Strip have returned home from a trip abroad. Their timing of a visit to Bulgaria probably saved their lives, but they are back not knowing who among their friends and relatives survived the Hamas militant group's massacre.
Really in a very, very, very traumatic situation because they're living in hell of not knowing. They haven't slept, they haven't eaten.
כמה דקות לפני שהם נחטפו הייתה השיחה האחרונה. בסביבות 11 בצהריים.
מה הם אמרו?
שיש מחבלים בבית.
The attack on the Supernova Music Festival in the Negev Desert left some 260 people dead, but tales of survival, be it through determination or luck, are emerging. 35-year-old Shani Hadar was shot in the shoulder and hid for 10 hours before escaping. Attending the event itself was a last-minute decision.
חטפתי ירי ממחבל בזמן שניסיתי לברוח מהכביש. פשוט התפרצו לכבישים וראיתי שיש מחבלים מלפניי, מחבלים מאחוריי. אין לי לאן לברוח, אז פשוט נסעתי שמאלה לשטח. ניסינו לגרור את עצמנו למטה ולחבוש את הדבר הזה עם קימונו שהיה עלינו. והבנתי שזה, האדם ממשיך לנזול וכנראה שאני לא אקבל סיוע בקרוב, אז פתחתי את זה מחדש.
This hotel in kibbutz Shifayim is providing shelter to those who witnessed the recent attacks. Many have lost loved ones.
I'm a left wing, and we know that not everybody is the Hamas, and I will have to work very hard of my humanity again.
Hamas's attack on Israel is high on the agenda as NATO ministers meet in Brussels. The US Secretary of Defense is attending the gathering and is expected to push for strong support for Israel from the alliance. Secretary General Stoltenberg says member nations should be able to rise to all the challenges NATO faces.
At our defense ministerial meeting, we are addressing a wide range of issues, how to support Ukraine, our deterrence and defense, NATO's missions and operations in Kosovo and Iraq, and this morning we'll also be briefed about the horrendous terrorist attacks against Israel over the weekend by Hamas, and we will be briefed by the Israeli defense minister.
I know you share our outrage at the terrorist attack on Israel by Hamas here recently, and also our determination to support Israel's right to defend itself. Thanks a lot.
During the summit, Stoltenberg has also discussed the recent suspected sabotage of an underseas gas pipeline between Finland and Estonia with ministers from both countries.
Protesters in Bosnia and Herzegovina are calling for action to tackle growing violence against women and girls. In August, thousands of people joined mass rallies after a woman was shot dead by her ex-husband, who live-streamed the crime. A recent report by the Council of Europe found Bosnia and Herzegovina has one of the highest rates of femicide in Europe. At least 48% of females have experienced abuse. Poland has recorded the most femicides in Europe this year.
Ja, die Wahlen in Polen sind wichtig, nicht nur für Polen, sondern auch für Europa. Ich bin eine Woche lang unterwegs mit jungen Wählern, die ganz unterschiedliche politische Überzeugungen haben. I'm really curious to learn about your viewpoints. First keyword, migration.
The planet is burning, people are going to migrate, and no human is illegal, so they should be given asylum.
Migration.
The problem is real. If you look on Lampedusa, the migrants are there. We, as a Poland, have a lot of migrants, but from Ukraine. And Europe probably needs to learn from us.
Migration.
Niekontrolowalna. Jest zdecydowanie niedobra to, co się dzieje teraz na granicy polsko-białoruskiej.
Migration.
Ludzie, którzy szukają lepszego życia w Europie.
Women's rights and abortion.
Abortion should be legal, free and accessible.
Women's rights and abortion.
I don't want to respond because I am a man and I'm a young man.
Women's rights and abortion.
Aborcja jest zła, nie powinniśmy mordować najbardziej bezbronnych i najbardziej niewinnych ludzi.
Women's rights and abortion.
Wolność do wyboru, co kobieta chce robić ze swoim ciałem.
Was denkt Polens Jugend? Eine Recherche für Euronews Witness vor Ort in Polen. Ich bin Hans von der Brelie. Kommen Sie mit.
In 2006, Sabine was unaware that she was pregnant while using glyphosate in her line of work. Little did she know this potent herbicide would leave an indelible mark on her life.
Chaque année, dans le cadre de mon travail d'organisatrice de randonnée à cheval, je devais passer un désherbant à base de glyphosate sur notre carrière d'équitation, qui est un espace en sable d'à peu près 700 mètres carrés. Et à chaque passage, ça me prenait plusieurs jours. Et c'est le moment où Théo a été dans mon ventre, c'était le début de ma grossesse. Et c'est le moment où les organes, l'œsophage, la trachée qui ont été mal formés chez Théo.
In 2018, Sabine took Monsanto, the company that markets the pesticide globally, to court. The connection between glyphosate and Theo's malformations was recognised and the family received compensation. A victory indeed, but one that cannot erase years of suffering.
Il a des malformations de l'œsophage, de la trachée, du larynx. C'est un syndrome polymalformatif, donc il y a un ensemble de malformations qui ont nécessité beaucoup d'opérations. Il a eu un total de 54 opérations.
The European Commission is considering renewing glyphosate's authorisation for 10 years and a vote scheduled for Friday, October the 13th. The herbicide is deemed to have no critical area of concern, according to a report by the European Food Safety Authority, a conclusion challenged by NGOs.
ECHO and EFSA, we believe, downplay the existing evidence from animal studies and from epidemiological studies on the evidence of glyphosate that may cause DNA damage in certain organisms. And this indicates the potential of glyphosate to cause cancer. So we believe that glyphosate should be classified as carcinogenic. There are a lot of studies showing that glyphosate exposure can be linked both to autism in children and to Parkinson's disease.
Sabine is now making an impassioned plea to members of the European Parliament.
Ce que je voudrais leur dire, c'est de sortir le nez des chiffres, de sortir le nez des bilans économiques et des statistiques, de se dire que derrière les statistiques, il y a réellement des victimes. S'ils prennent la décision de maintenir le glyphosate sur le marché européen, ils prennent la décision qu'il y aura ces victimes. Ils seront responsables de ces souffrances et de ces futures victimes.
Australian journalist Chang Lei has returned home and has been reunited with her family after 3 years of detention in China. The 48-year-old had been working for China's state broadcaster CGTN when she was suddenly charged with spying. Her trial was conducted last year behind closed doors. Her arrest came at a time when relations between the two countries were at a low, due to Australia condemning China's handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. It's a long way from a cow chopped in half and preserved in a tank of formaldehyde, but these paintings are by Damien Hirst. He may have been the enfant terrible of the British art scene, but now he seems to have calmed down. The Secret Gardens painting series is being shown for the first time at the Frieze London Art Fair, which will run from the 11th to the 15th of October. From small beginnings, Frieze has become an international fair, with sister shows in Los Angeles, New York and Seoul.